Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Bassar here to give you his quick thoughts, very quick thoughts, on the WWE Draft. Now, like a lot of people, I believe this may be one of the weaker drafts well, since it started, in 2004, 5 years ago. A few of these choices I like, a few of them I don't like. I feel like Raw is stacked too much with their talent. However, there are a few things that could prove me wrong on here. A couple of things that they've done that I wish that were mistakes that I would say were two big things. One, splitting up Miz and Morrison. They are an amazing tag team. Now, granted, the tag team champions are now going to be traveling from show to show, I believe. So, if that's the case, then I guess the tag team championships are going to be interpromotional, which means they can team with whoever they want, which means they can probably keep Miz and Morrison as a tag team. However, if that's not the case, I believe splitting them up was a big mistake. I don't think they should have been broken up. I think they're a great tag team, one of the best tag teams that the E's had in years, and they just ruined it right there. Second biggest problem, not drafting John Cena to SmackDown. I believe his character and his gimmick fits a lot better on SmackDown. Plus, it would have made a lot more sense since right now he's in a feud with Edge. But I'm guessing that feud's probably going to end at Backlash, where I'm guessing it's either going to be Edge is going to win the title or CM Punk is going to cash in Money in the Bank, and on either Triple H or John Cena, and take the belt to SmackDown. Take one of the belts to SmackDown. So one of those things has got to happen. Anyway, a few of the here are all the draft picks that got drafted to Raw. We got Ken Kennedy. Ken Kennedy has basically become a ping pong ball. He's gone back and forth between Raw and SmackDown over the past couple of years. Hopefully he can stay seated here, but on Raw, I'm afraid he's probably not going to get the main event push he deserves. So that's what I'm worried about. The Colen brothers, again, I think they're going to be traveling back and forth between shows anyway to defend those tag team titles, so that's not really a big thing. Chavo Guerrero, I really don't want to see Chavo Guerrero buried. I'm a big mark for Chavo, and I think that this might be the case, so hopefully that's not the case. Hornswoggle could care less. Nikki Bella and Brie Bella, the twins, could care less, really. The Brian Kendrick, I think that this is going to bury him. I think this was a huge mistake, moving him to Raw. Since when he was on Raw with London, they weren't used to their full advantage, and he was being used not as good as he should be, but pretty well on SmackDown. So I think that was a mistake. Who else? Festus. I believe he'd be a better fit on Raw. He's mainly an undercard opener guy anyway, so I don't think that's a big loss. MVP. I've always said MVP should be on Raw, and I think that's a great move. Big Show, again, I think he should be on Raw. I think that's a good move for him, too. Matt Hardy, I don't think it made too much sense. He's in a feud right now with Jeff. I'd say probably of all of them, that's the one I was least expecting to go to Raw. But this could be either good or bad. It could be good since they just had him pin a guy who was world champion, his own brother, Jeff Hardy. Or it could be bad since he could be buried on Raw. Hopefully he's not, and hopefully he's given a push, which is what I want to see. Triple H, we all saw this coming anyway. This shouldn't be a shock to anyone. I believe he's a better fit on Raw. I believe this past year on SmackDown has been one of his weakest years in recent memory. So I believe moving him back to Raw was a good choice. I'm one of the few people who think that, but I honestly do. The Miz, again, I don't think they should have split up Morrison and Miz. I think Miz should have stayed on SmackDown / ECW personally. So, but anyway. And WWE Divas champion Maryse. They obviously had to put one women's champion on each show since Melina went to SmackDown. So Maryse is on Raw. Could care less about that title or about that draft, to be quite honest with you. Okay, on to SmackDown. We have Shad and JTG, aka Crime Time. I think that's a good move for them. They've been on Raw since they started. So I think moving them to another show could be a good thing for them. They could have newer feuds, newer matches, and they could be given a second chance to really show their stuff. Alicia Fox could really care less. Mike Knox, I was surprised Mike Knox was not drafted to ECW, but since ECW and SmackDown have the trading thing, I guess he'll be used a lot on there too. So, you know, that's fine. I want to see him off Raw anyway. Ricky Ortiz is not going to be that much of a difference, honestly. He's still going to be going from ECW SmackDown. I think he's a good wrestler and could be used a bit more with the 2-hour show. Candice Michelle could care less, to be honest with you. Layla could care less. John Morrison dropped from ECW SmackDown. Again, that's really not going to be too much of a big thing since they are basically the same show. They travel back and forth. If they're trying to keep ECW as a second brand, I believe switching John Morrison was a good idea, since now he can compete for like the Intercontinental title again, maybe even the World title someday. So I think that was a good move. I just wish Miz was there with him. So Dolph Ziggler, I think that's a good move. He hasn't been used well since he's been on Raw. So yeah. And Charlie Haas, I think that's a fantastic move. Hopefully he gets another chance on SmackDown, since he's a fantastic wrestler, and maybe even team with Shelton Benjamin again, but not on a regular basis, since I love them both as singles wrestlers as well. WWE Women's Champion Melina was also drafted to SmackDown. Like I said, they had to have one on each show, so I guess that makes sense. CM Punk was drafted to SmackDown. I think that's a good thing. I think he'd be a stronger world champion on SmackDown without Triple H there to really sort of interfere with it. Kane is like Kennedy. He's like a ping pong ball now. He's going back and forth between shows. Hopefully they can find something good for him here, since, but like I've always said, I believe Kane is one of the most underrated wrestlers in the history of the WWE. I think he's awesome, and hopefully they can find something good for him on SmackDown. Chris Jericho, I fucking love this move. I love Jericho to SmackDown. We can have so many new feuds and matches. I think that's great. And Rey Mysterio, like I said, for Jericho, that was an awesome choice, moving him back to SmackDown. And I think SmackDown, although they did lose a few of their big stars, I think that they have a great-looking wrestling roster. So I'm going to be tuning into SmackDown a lot more than I did, let's just say. And ECW, let's see who ECW got. I'm sorry, I'm reading this off a list right here. ECW got only 6 drafts altogether, which is what you'd expect for ECW, but they got Ezekiel Jackson. He's not too good. He looks like someone who could be good if he improved a lot on his wrestling, so hopefully that's the case, and hopefully he gets a chance to more showcase that on ECW. Zack Ryder, could care less, never been a fan of his. I don't really think he can wrestle, blah, blah, blah. D.H. Smith, I think that's fantastic. I'd love to see D.H. Smith on ECW have some great feuds and great matches, especially with Low Key upcoming and debuting in ECW. Hopefully that comes soon. Natalya Neidhart, I was hoping she would stay. I was hoping actually she would go to Raw so we could finally see a match with her and Beth Phoenix. But I guess the women's wrestling, wherever you put them, it's all going to be the same anyway. So her on ECW, I guess, isn't a big deal. And Vladimir Kozlov's going to be horrible wherever he is. I guess they're putting him on their C show since they finally found out he's fucking horrible. So, and Gregory Helms, thank you God, finally Gregory Helms is on a show, a better show where he can showcase his stuff better, I believe, anyway. Hopefully if Christian wins the ECW title at Backlash, which I think he will, him and Gregory Helms can have some matches for the ECW title. I would fucking love to see that. I think Helms is a fantastic wrestler, and I don't think he's been used very well since he's come back to SmackDown, so I think that's a good move. All in all, like I said, very mediocre, but they could have done worse. They also could have done a lot better, but they could have done worse. I also want to talk about one more thing before I end this video. A lot of people have been talking about they think Christian should have been moved to SmackDown. I agree with that, but just not now, since he's right in the middle of the ECW Chase tournament thing, so that wouldn't have made any sense. I believe what they're going to do with him, what they did with Matt Hardy. They're going to have him on ECW for a while, and then he's going to do something big, maybe with Edge, and they're going to slowly transfer him to SmackDown, where he probably will compete for the World Championship by the end of the year, hopefully. That's what I'm thinking that they're going to do, so that's why I don't mind that he wasn't transferred to SmackDown, or Raw for that matter. In any case, coming out of this draft, the only thing I'm hoping is that Charlie Haas gets a better push, and both Chavo Guerrero and Brian Kendrick aren't done with the company by the end of the year, since they're on Raw now. Hopefully they're kept and they're used at least good on Raw, since Chavo is a fantastic talent, as is the Brian Kendrick. So that's about all I got to say. Keep watching. Isba is out.